evening, everybody. Welcome to the Town of Rhinebeck regular town board meeting. It is September 10th. Would everybody please stand for the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I would like to make a motion to approve our prior minutes of August 13, 2018 for our regular town board meeting and August 30th, 2018 for our special town board meeting. May I have a second? Is there any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? So moved. We have two presentations tonight, but I want to take this a little out of order to get some business done before Warren Raplansky, our town attorney, has to leave. First, before we do that, I have Resolution 2018-208, hiring our zoning administrator. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Thank you. Brandon, may I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Alan Chauncey. Is there any discussion? Would anybody like to speak or have any questions? We have been interviewing extensively. We tried bifurcating the job earlier this year, and that didn't work out for us. We were lucky to work through the civil service list, and we're lucky to find outside the list a qualified Rhinebeck applicant who is a graduate from Vassar within urban studies and has her master's in public administration from Paris. She has experience as a planning board secretary, a planning board planning board member from another town, and has experience working for municipalities. So we're thrilled to be able to offer and appoint Michelle Turek to our job as zoning administrator. Is there any further discussion or any questions? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? So moved. Thanks, Michelle. You'll be starting on the 24th of September, and we'll have a load of work for you to start.
Look forward to it.
Yeah, we do too. Thank you. Welcome aboard.
Thanks, Michelle.
Now, going out of order here, I think that Warren wanted to bring us up to date on a lawsuit before the town and ask us to move a resolution from the floor to allow him to defend it. Warren, do you want to fill us in?
Yeah, just there's the law challenging our solar ordinance, solar local law, Miller versus Rhinebeck. As you might recall, we prevailed on that case in the Supreme Court, Dutchess County, and the petitioners have filed an appeal with the Appellate Division, Second Department, and they've now perfected the appeal by filing their brief and the record on appeal. So the town needs to defend that appeal. So I just need a resolution authorizing me and John Lyons, our planning attorney, to represent the town in the defense of the appeal in that case.
I'll make a motion to put forth a resolution from the floor allowing Warren Raplansky and John Lyons to defend the town in the appeal Amanda Miller et al. Versus the town of Rhinebeck solar law. May I have a second?
Second.
Thanks, Ed. Is there any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So moved. Thanks, Warren. So you will get in touch with John Warren.
I'll let John talk with John.
Okay. Did you also want to stay for the LED presentation and the resolution?
If we can get the LED on first thing, I'll stay for
We have
that.
a presentation
Sure,
first.
yeah, I'd like to stay for that myself
Yeah,
too.
thank you.
know.
Chauncey, why don't you take it away? We have a presentation here that Chauncey's been working on.
We do. Jeffrey Lano of the New York Power Authority, Business Development Representative, is here to brief us. I'm sure that some of the things he has to say will be familiar if you've been paying attention, but it's been a long time. I think we started on this in January, so I thought it would be well to give everybody an opportunity to hear the summary again.
Thank you very much.
And an opportunity to ask questions. Jeff and I have met a couple of times before, the second time being today. The first time being with Rick Lewitt, when he and I met with Jeff together, Rick being the deputy mayor for the village, to talk about our projects jointly. And all of this preparatory to the possibility of our adopting resolutions tonight to take the first step forward to do the project. So with that, I'll turn it over to Jeff.
Thanks for coming, Jeff.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. Thank you, Chauncey. Chauncey and I have done, aside from meeting twice, presented at a group session with Chauncey, participated, and a lot of emails back and forth, and he's been very helpful in getting us to where we are right now. So again, I'm Jeff Lano. I'm with the New York Power Authority. I handle business development activities for the Power Authority from kind of Kingston south onto Long Island. I handle some customers in the city as well. And essentially, what the New York Power Authority is doing is it's been selected by the governor's office to implement a program statewide called the Smart Street Lighting New York program. The goal is to replace 500,000 street lights statewide by 2025. We're well ahead of that. We just signed a project with Syracuse for 41,000 lights, which was a great shot. So we're above 300,000.
We have 100, so.
You have 100 or 102?
103.
And your neighbors,
Yeah,
we'll know
We'll figure
exactly
it
when
out.
we're done. And your neighbors across the street just signed all the paperwork today. It landed in my email box. So
The village or
the village.
Great.
So we're going to be working with them as well as close to 15 others as part of the Mid-Hudson Street Lighting Consortium. So Mike is really happy to be spearheading this effort statewide, working with a number of small municipalities to help get this thing done in a streamlined fashion. So anyhow, this project would be done through the Customer Energy Solutions Department, which I work in. We were established actually about 20 years ago, but more recently, about 4 or 5 years ago, they really ramped up the department to help implement a lot of energy efficiency projects and renewable projects throughout the state under the Reform the Energy Vision energy program for the state, trying to reduce energy consumption 20% by 2020 in government buildings, and we're well on our way to that. So NYPA created this division, was selected by the governor's office because of our expertise in energy efficiency to take on the street lighting issue. And we've been running around statewide, talking to customers like yourselves and getting a lot of progress happening all over the state. We were awarded, not necessarily a contract, but we were recommended by Pat Courtney Strong from the Mid-Hudson Street Lighting Consortium to basically be the implementation agent for all the municipalities. So we have, like I said, about 15 signed up so far. And interesting, just in terms of timing, you guys are teed up perfectly. We're going to be doing the engineering kickoff meeting on October 5th with the consortium members, and then getting into the details of each municipality's unique situations from there. So we're beginning the process. City of Kingston is sort of the lead on the program. They have about 2,400 lights. So smaller municipalities are attaching themselves to that bigger project for economies of scale. So municipalities are allowed to work with NYPA in sort of a no-bid environment. They can hire us to do this work through statutory authority, through an act of the New York State Assembly, Public Authority Law 1005, Section 17. You can hand over a project like you may decide tonight to do with this project. And that's because NYPA has done all the procurement on your behalf already for some of our engineering and design firms. And when we have full specifications laid out for the consortium, we'll go out to bid as well on your behalf for labor installers to handle the actual on the boots on the ground and up in the air work for all the consortium. And that's where we feel like the aggregation approach is really going to pay off for the smaller municipalities to get a bigger project teed up for these contractors. So NYPA offers a turnkey solution. So what you're going to see is we're going to deal with all the engineering, looking at your existing assets, and making recommendations to not only reduce energy, but still meet lighting codes and levels. And we're going to be talking with you guys individually as this unfolds in terms of your specific radius of your village and what you want in terms of kelvins, styling, etc. So it'll be an interactive process with you. And we want to hear from you guys.
What's the process by which we decide how the light looks?
Well, this, in terms of like the actual lighting, color, temperature.
Well, you said you'll be working with us,
Right.
you know, a lot of people are afraid, you know, they don't realize that there's new technology now that allows for softer LED lights, and
Right.
it's not going to peel the paint off their house.
No.
Will we be able to set it, look at it, and make some adjustments with public
Yeah.
feedback?
We can actually set up, we can install samples. In an area like this, typically they come in three, you know, temperature colors, 2700 to 4000. And, you know, I was in a meeting this morning, and it's kind of like the difference between 4000s are going to be white like this paper, whereas like the 2700s are not going to be yellow like the attorney's legal pad, but it's going to be somewhere in the middle, like a manila folder almost.
So it'll be warmer.
It'll be warmer. It's I think what happened at the outset in the LED industry is that they overlit, they went on the side of,
That's what the public has
is worried about.
yeah.
Absolutely, we have a lot of
So-
experience in that. So we're going to design to what you believe is best for your community. And in some cases, it's going with the 2700s. Other communities, like the city
So
of
it's
Mount
2700
Kelvin, that's
to
the-
400?
to 4000
So
or
4,000
higher.
at the high. What did
What did you see in
27?
Scarsdale? Do you
All of
remember?
them.
I'm sorry,
Oh, sorry, what did you guys see in Scarsdale?
I was just waiting for you to ask, Brendan.
I believe they did
I was not-
4000s in Scarsdale.
I think Brendan may be referring to some samples that Scarsdale has set up. And you can go down, and by the way, I've told you all of this, I'm sure it's on your calendar. You can go down to Scarsdale, I'll make the arrangements for you, you'll get a tour, you go at night. Rick Lewis and I did, probably in March. Went down and we were given a tour of their
That's amazing.
test sites, of which there are several, and you see a lot and you learn a lot, and it's very reassuring to do.
Right.
And I mean, it's great that we can do some of that ourselves here, but also if you want to make a road trip, you can go down to Scarsdale and see quite a
They have the
sophisticated
different
set.
color temperatures set up there for.
Big one?
That's great that they've already done that, but we part of our thing is to install samples.
So the public can
Decide
see
what
it,
you
yeah.
like.
These lights are like in the high 3000s.
Yeah.
In fact, I have an app that tells you what the temperature is.
Really?
All right, well, let's keep going with the meeting.
Yeah, so if I were you guys, you don't have high crime, you're not doing police raids and you need to flood lighting and maybe go with 4000s. In some areas they do that, and others, same project, same municipality, has some 4000s and some 3000s in the back neighborhoods. So we'll get to that.
Okay.
And you'll have an input, absolutely. And that's all part of the design and the interaction. So anyway, we do the design, we'll go out to bid for you to our vendors, as well as if you have, you know, folks that could handle a decent sized project, we'd be happy to vet them as well. So we will manage the construction, and we'll also commission the job, which means when it's set up, when it's installed, people are going to see a new light. And it takes a few days for people to get used to it, but if for some reason it's set up wrong, it's creating too much backlight, we can adjust it, put up a shield, address that as within days, within the next day.
Within the budget that we agreed to.
Of course, that would be on us. So we would make sure that that's part of the install.
So, sorry to diverge, but a lot of our lights are in a lighting district. So would the lighting district pay for the change in the lights? Would the cost be assigned to the lighting district?
Typically, we would have a contract with the municipality, and then you would split it out.
Yeah, that's what I mean,
But
yes.
So we'll keep track of it that way if that's what you'd like. I mean, you're going to ultimately end up with a report at the end of it, every single light, its location, its GPS coordinates, its address, how many watts.
We'll know exactly what lights we have finally.
You'll know exactly what you have, and we're going to report that to Central Hudson so that your invoicing goes down.
Okay.
But yeah, we'll keep track of that, because the biggest headache of the project, in my opinion, is just all the bookkeeping for all the municipalities, and then districts within municipalities. Computers can do that, though, I think. Go ahead.
I have a question. Do you also look at the wiring between the
Yes.
lights?
Yes, we do. There's actually we created like an allowance in the proposal for wiring. This is an allowance for arms. If there's a few arms that are damaged or rotting, rusting. So we've built in some allowances too. Typically, so we start out with a bigger number, and as certain things aren't needed, you don't pay for it.
Oh, great. We do have a wiring problem in one place.
When we're to the point where we're having a kickoff meeting with the contractor, we can discuss that and certain thresholds, how you guys want us to do that. If it looks bad, just do it. If it's iffy, take a picture to somebody who would make that call. But we have some allowance set up in the project for that. So anyhow, just your project, 95 lights would be installed based on the inventory that we have. There are 102 fixtures, of which 7 of them are already LED. But we will put in 95 lights. We came down to a just over 4-year payback, which is a very good payback.
What does that mean?
It means the energy savings and the maintenance savings on these. The cost of the project is exactly
Will be paid for after 4 years.
Will be paid for after 4
And
years.
so after that, then we're just saving money?
You're just saving money for years 5 through 20. They say they last 25 years. I like to say 20, just to be on the safe side. Because the stuff hasn't even been around for more than 5 years. So, but,
And then what do you do? Have to replace the heads after that?
yeah, the bulbs, the diode panel. Yeah, so the project with interest and everything is about 75 grand, with interest during construction, which is overstated as well. So if it's 75,000 and you project it to save 18,000, so it's 4 years and change. So the estimated cost, the savings that are on the sheet come out to that 4.13-year payback. So yeah, the key part of the project too is the commissioning. We'll stay with the project, we're going to stay with the consortium. And as the contractor's doing the project, it'll take probably 2 weeks tops to do this area. So people will know day one whether they like the light, they have any issues.
Will you be on the project all the way through, or will
Yeah.
somebody be on?
Absolutely, we'll have a
So
construction.
we'll be able to get word out to our residents, this is what's happening
Right.
now, take a look at it, let us know with any feedback.
Yes, and then immediately you'll have the construction manager's phone number to say, hey, the lady on 10 Market Street felt too much light was coming back on her front porch. Switch it, angle it a little bit, put up a blocker of some sort. These lights though should actually solve any of those issues of people getting light on their front yard or porch. Maybe they like it, maybe they're not going to have as much light on their front. You know, the lighting is more directional to go on the roadway. So you might actually have the reverse issue, like, hey, my front porch isn't lit up anymore, so I actually have to put on my own light. But the lights are designed to light the roadways. But we'll stay with it, we'll commission it, we'll make sure everyone's happy, we'll inspect every light fixture prior to paying off the project. And, you know, we'll have you guys involved in that inspection as much as you'd like to be to confirm everything's done.
Let me interject something, Jeffrey, that just occurs to me. And I don't know that I ever reported it to my colleagues on the town board. At the time when Pat Courtney Strong began to direct us in the direction of the New York Power Authority, I, of course, made a few calls. I don't know that I should disclose the names of the people I've spoken with because I didn't get permission to do that. But I got uniformly very good reports on working with the Power Authority. I mention it because it's pretty important, and I'm sure some of you are thinking along those lines.
Right. That's good to hear. I mean, one of the key projects that I've done, a lot ready to go, but one of them out in the town of Southampton may have been one that we used as a reference, 26. They started out with 2,700 lights. Turns out we installed 2,300 because that's all they had. They were being overbilled by over 400 lights a month for 30 years. So they're having a little bit of a discussion with their utility on, gee, what do we, overbill this by, $1.8 million, so what do we do with that? But who knows, it might have been paid for the project. But the point of the story is, they now have a true accurate inventory, and we, on this paper, we proposed 1.7 million, the project came back at 1.4 million, and they were able to add lighting in their parking lots, and they actually added some poles and some new lights in a new development that didn't have any lighting, and folks were kind of complaining about that. So we believe the numbers usually come in less. We don't need the contingencies unless, of course, your inventory was inaccurate, but we have some money that should get approved to cover that, so we're going to have to go through a whole change order process and maybe stop a job for a month because we ran out of money and there's still 6 lights to be done. So we want to do all the lights, not just the lights on the CH invoices. So, but that'll be your call. When we get to the number, we say, hey, there's 5 more. We do them and we report them, and you're going to pay for those from, you've now billed for those, but at least you'll have the light and everything trued up. So in terms of next steps, what NYPA would need to initiate the project, and we're sort of already initiating it either way, but we do need this documents before we actually spend any real money on purchasing anything. We are going to have a design kickoff meeting on October 5th with all the members of the consortium. But in between now and then, so we can actually get on the ground on your project, we would need the authorization to proceed, which I've sent to Chauncey. I can send it again. And
No, I have it and I've distributed it.
I think we're ready, we're going to approve it tonight.
Okay.
And the master cost recovery agreement
And the
also.
master cost
Everybody
recovery
was-
agreement. Then that's committing you to the design, which is, I don't know, less than $4,000, I believe, for your municipality. Then we'll go out to bid, we'll have real numbers, and this number that's now 73,000 or whatever will come in at whatever it is, 68,000, whatever the bids come back at. And we'll sit down and we'll sign one final document, which is in essence the customer project commitment, which is the detailed scope, the final kind of tally up. Even that'll have a contingency baked into it just in case something happens. But obviously if you don't need the contingency, you don't pay for any of those things. So it's a very transparent process
Thank
working
you.
with us. So.
Anybody have any questions or comments? Warren?
No, well, it looks great.
I think we can, thank you. So I remembered a lot, so. We're going to go ahead then, and I need a motion for Resolution 2018-209, which is creating a capital project and authorizing the budget transfers and amendments in connection with the LED streetlight project. May I have a motion, Chauncey?
Make the motion.
Thank you. May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Ed. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? So moved. So we've got the money
Thank you.
now. So now I need a motion for Resolution 2018-210, authorizing the town supervisor to execute an authorization to proceed with the implementation of an LED street lighting conversion project and execution of an energy services program master cost recovery agreement with the New York State Power Authority. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Chauncey. May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Alan. Are there any questions? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. We're funded and approved. It's
Great.
on the contract. Thank you.
Excellent, thank you.
We're
Thank you very much.
excited about that.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, no,
Thank
we
you.
just, thanks
Nice
for
to meet
coming
you.
up. You
Yep.
too.
Thanks very much.
Well
Drive careful.
Great, thank you. Have a good night.
Getting messy out there.
Warren,
Thanks
do you have
again.
anything else you want to say
No,
for?
I gotta take off.
Okay, you
That's
take
okay.
off. Thank you for all your help.
Okay, no
We
problem.
have another presentation tonight. We have Steve Cook of the Star Library here to talk to us about the 414 and the upcoming election. Is it the 414?
Yes, 414.
414. 414 sounds odd, but it is.
414, 414, either way. That is, for those of you who don't know, the chapter of New York State education law that allows libraries to get a proposal on the ballot. And what that involves is a number of petitions, which we have filled out those petitions, and we have heard the town clerk. John has certified them, and they will be submitted to the Dutchess Board of Elections.
They have been submitted.
Oh, they have?
They went down today.
Okay, we're on the way though. So we are asking for a small increase of $20,000 of the taxpayers of Rhinebeck. We last were on the ballot in 2015. We have done the calculations, and this will be approximately $1.34 of increase per $100,000 assessed. So for a home of $300,000, that would be an increase of $4. Currently, we receive $324,800 per year from the taxpayers of Rhinebeck. In addition to that, we write grants, we do receive bequests, we have an annual campaign that people voluntarily contribute. We write requests of the Thomas Thompson Trust and the Frost Fund, and we also do receive financial help from Senator Serino and Assemblymember Cahill when they are able to help us out. We feel that we are good stewards of tax dollars and serve the public pretty well. We have just over 100,000 people who pass through our doors every year. So in a town of 7,700, to have 100,000 people, there are certainly a lot of people who come repeatedly. But as I tell the Chamber of Commerce or not the Chamber, rather with the Rotary, when at their luncheons I have the opportunity to speak to them, the people who are coming to the library are driving right by your businesses. So we hope and work for anything that we can do to help in the community. We have a lot of programs and a lot of things that are going on at the library, support groups. The Alzheimer's support group is there tonight. We have speakers, we have tutors who help students, we have the Lego Club that meets, and by the way, the Lego Club won first prize, a blue ribbon at the fair this year. So I must say I didn't know there was a competition for Legos, but we won. We offer delivery to homebound patrons, and we also work with, as I said, the Rotary. We also work with the Lions Club, the Interact Club, and we also have hosted a number of political candidates who are interested in meeting with their constituents. One thing I would like to this audience would like to thank, we do partner up with the town and the town recreation committee. We have partnered with the summer rec and all the kids at the pool. And you may remember how rainy it's been all summer, and every time the heavens opened up and it rained, the kids wandered up with their folks, and we were showing movies and kids were reading books, and so there were a lot of kids that weren't quite as wet as they could have been. So we are asking for the support of the community for our vote this year, and we hope to be responsive to the needs of the community, and serving is what we do. So thank you very much for the opportunity to come speak tonight.
Thank you for running such a nice library. And we're also really grateful for our new EV charger.
I can't wait for that to finally, from Central Hudson, we'll finally finish plugging it in. And in terms of sustainability, we have in the back of the building the electric vehicle charging. And now in front of the building, we have a bicycle repair stand.
Yay!
So there is a 6-foot stand that you can throw your bike up, and there are repair tools if you need to adjust the wheels or tighten the spoke or adjust the seat, and there's a pump. So this is all in front of the library, so we do this and we do that, and it's right in it's kind of a high traffic area as people go down Traeger Lane.
Sure.
And so this is one more way that we seek to help out in the community.
Well, thank you. Thank you for coming, Stephen.
I'd just like to add my thanks for taking care of the camp kids as you have.
It's our pleasure. We work every year and we get a little bit better at it, and we are able to do more planning and to have more events. And we have an almost endless supply of DVDs, so when it's raining from 11 in the morning till 3:30 in the afternoon, they get like a triple
Rainy
feature.
summer.
Yeah, so
All
that
right,
was
well, thank you. I would like a motion for Resolution 2018-205, providing notice of the submission of the proposition of the next general election of the town of Rhinebeck, at the next general election of the town of Rhinebeck, increasing the amount of funding of the town's annual contribution to the operating budget of the Star Library. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Thank you, Brennan. May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Chauncey. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? So moved. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Sure. I think we can go back to our regular order. Let's finish the resolutions, and then we can do announcements, liaison reports. chatting forever. Mike, did you have something with us tonight, or you?
Seeing that I'm only going to be doing that other job for 2 weeks.
I think you've been
I
replaced,
think I've been replaced.
unless she...
I have to let him off the hook that
No,
easily.
we're gonna miss you.
You're training.
I'm going to make a motion for
See?
Resolution 2018-200, budget transfers and amendments. May I have a second?
Second.
Thanks, Brennan. Is there any discussion, any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. I will make a motion for Resolution 2018-201 for our preliminary accounts payable abstracts, vouchers 957 through 1046. There are 64 checks totaling $342,879.51. May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Ed. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. I will make a motion for Resolution 2018-202 for our capital projects abstracts, 5 checks totaling $71,145.12. May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Who seconded it?
Brandon can have.
Thanks. Thanks, Brennan. Is there any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? So moved. I would like a motion for Resolution 2018-203, increasing our maximum weekly hour limits for our planning and zoning clerks. May I have a motion? Thank you, Brennan. May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Alan. This is increasing them from 25 up to 32 hours a week, as we are finding that we are having more and
A lot
more
for them to
business
do.
before, and they also will take over their own escrow. So, thank you. Is there any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. I'm looking for a motion for Resolution 2018-204 for our recreation programs of volleyball and basketball. Thank you, Alan. May I have a second? Thanks,
Second.
Ed. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. We have done tab 6, Resolution 205 already. So tab 7, Resolution 2018-206. We'll make a motion for our $110 training program for our appointed assessor, Matt Sabia. May I have a second?
Second.
Thanks, Chauncey. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved.
I think I'd like to take this forward.
You can. May I have a motion for Resolution 2018-207, authorization of temporary transfers from the town general funds to capital projects H103? May I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you. May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. This is a temporary transfer until we get our DASNY grant money, the Dormitory Authority of New York State, for the state of New York, which is a $100,000 grant for our pavilion. The money hasn't come through yet, it will, so we're temporarily loaning it to the H103 is the pavilion at the Thompson Mesmerlo Park. So we will pay ourselves back once we were paid by the state. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. Have I missed anything? I don't think so. Is there any business, any announcements? Anyone want to fill us in on anything?
Sure. As you may recall, we approved an expense to hook up the lights at the park to the new power panel that's in the pavilion. That work was done, the lights went on. The next day there was a big storm, the lights don't work anymore. And the theory is that either, well, the direct cause was water damage probably. The indirect cause may have been the planting of those trees, digging down there, somebody may have broken a wire or a pipe. So what I would like to do is to propose a resolution authorizing some expense to have the electrician go in and figure out where the break is. it's going to cost somewhere between $500 and $3,000 to fix this, depending on whether he goes to the right place first or not.
Does he have to excavate to see?
Well, he might have to, he will, but the first question is, he's going to check each light and go down the row, and he'll probably he'll start where the most likely spot is. So that costs us maybe $500, but at some point it might cost more. So I propose a resolution that we authorize the electrician to do that work and do the repair. Otherwise,
Who's going to do this?
it's the same guy we authorize. I actually don't have.
Do we have to
anything.
bid it out?
I wanted to get it out.
I think it's a change order, no?
Well, we can check.
The other question I have is, do we have insurance that might cover water damage?
We have to call
I'll
our
check
carrier.
that, I'll check that too.
Sometimes insurance doesn't cover underground. But that's residential. I
Yeah,
don't-
we'll see.
Yeah, no, we should ask.
I mean, you know, I think
Thank
it's what
you.
my homeowner says, so that's one thing. The other, I was gonna do a report on the recreational summer.
Great.
You wanna have a few minutes. The big issue with the pool over the summer was how often we closed. Generally speaking, the issue on that was that we did not always have the lifeguards we needed to cover.
I gotta tell you, I got a ton of complaints too about closing early.
I know, well, here's the thing, we hired 21 lifeguards. We need 4 or 5 preferably to cover the pool when it's full. If it's half full, we don't need the full 5. In order for a guard to be qualified, they have to take a training program, and they have to be approved by the state and the county.
County Board of Health.
Board of Health and Department of Health clearance. And what happened was, when we got to the end of August, they all disappeared, basically. So they were, for the most part, either high school students going to college or college students going back to school, or in some cases, high school students. So, you know, it was an issue. And I think,
Alan,
yes.
would Elaine like to have hired more than 24, or when we have 24 it works, and then when we lose?
No, well, the problem is you can't add people in midstream because the approval process takes time. And so you can't, you know, unless somebody's already been approved by the Department of Health.
One thing we talked about was making the pool director job a grown-up job and maybe hiring a couple of grown-ups all summer long who aren't going back. So that we're sure that at least there's swim time, you know.
And aren't they supposed to be telling us when they're going to leave us? I mean, are they leaving us high and dry, or?
In some cases.
Kids are, you know, beautiful and messy and
Yeah, well, the other idea that was,
kids.
this was all floated at the rec committee meeting. One of the other ideas was the lifeguards are paying $350 for their certification. And one of the ideas we had was if they stay the whole season, we'll reimburse them for that.
I think that's a really good
And if they
idea.
don't stay, they don't get it.
Or maybe we pay them minimum wage and then there's an end of season bonus that brings them up to a
Something.
higher
Yeah,
hourly
stuff
rate.
like that.
That's a lot of money.
We should, yeah, I'll bring that back to the committee. One of the things that came up, by the way, is apparently the state, the county, and the town all have 3 different employment application forms. We're going to use.
Welcome to
We're
civil
going to
service.
use, well, but it's our form, we're going to use probably the county one from now on, so that we don't have to have people fill out 3 different forms. Elaine is going to work on a year-round rec brochure. The one we have right now just covers the summer, so we'll have it all year round. The other issue was that the soccer camp is part of the camp program, and yet they don't give us the paperwork on their counselors, on their medical, if they have an emergency medical contact. And surely there is the risk that one of their people might have to do first aid or do CPR or administer an EpiPen or what have you. And we don't have any of the paperwork on any of their people. They didn't give it to us after our request. And so my position is going to be that either give us that stuff next year or that program will be terminated. just can't operate with people that, we don't have the paperwork on. You all saw or maybe you didn't, the state of cleanliness in the pool area. One of the things we wanted to do is pay a cleaning service to clean it up for the weekend, so that when the kids got back on Monday morning, it was clean, and we could tell the people that use it, keep it that way. Of course, that's wishful thinking in some way. There are a couple of nits and lice, but that's basically it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. The average number of campers this year was higher by a fraction of a person. It was like 52 point something as opposed to 52 point nothing from last year. Although in their best years, it was up in the 60s, average number of campers per week. So I'm not sure whether that's caused by the fact that the baby boom is over, if there ever was one, or that the camp is less popular or whatever.
Like, rates in school or...
Yeah, I think that's accurate. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Al.
Anybody else? Had a on-site meeting with Amtrak and the New York Department of Transportation and our highway superintendent and a bunch of other folks. The mayor, what?
How about that?
Went well. They showed us where they're going to put up fences or gates on the access road to the village water treatment plant. And we're working with Scenic Hudson, and we're going to submit another letter to the Department of State because we are a town with an LWRP, a local waterfront revitalization plan, and that calls for people to have access to the river. So we'll be submitting a consistency report to the Department of State. The Department of State is not holding over public comment. They are supposed to be coming and having a public meeting to let people know. Amtrak and the Department of Transportation are supposed to be having public meetings to let the public know what they're going to do. And the Department of State is supposed to hold off on taking action on this until after the public meetings. But surprise to surprise, it seems to be getting a little messed up. So we're working with the Planning Board and the Conservation Advisory Board to write another letter to the Department of State and Amtrak and the Department of Transportation, letting them know how this doesn't fit in with our LWRP.
So you've determined that those gates are going to interfere with access?
They will interfere with access. And the only thing we could come up with is some kind of mediation plan, which would be forming another sort of park with access to it over these gates.
Gotcha.
So, it's complicated, but we need to reserve our right to do that. Also, within the context of those meetings, we talked to the real estate division of Amtrak about taking over our footbridge, and that's in the works. So I'll keep you posted on that. Earlier this week, what is today, Monday? Last week I attended a meeting with a member of the Church of Messiah, English as a second language, and support for our undocumented residents with the county. The county sheriff, the county executive, and the county human rights let us know that as of August 1st at the county intake in the jail, they have ceased asking for citizenship and place of origin of birth. And the feeling by our county sheriff is that residents who are here undocumented are not reporting crimes because they're becoming afraid. So they've stopped asking for that information at intake, and this was the first in steps that the mayors and supervisors will be working with the county and the county sheriff and the county human rights and our undocumented residents representatives to make sure that there's knowledge about what's going on and what not is getting reported to ICE. So that was a very promising meeting. We also have been working with the State Department of Health and the ombudswomen who are people that work to ensure that people receiving services from the State Department of Health are being treated properly. And we've announced that the New York State Department of Health has accepted a closure schedule from the owner of King Heights, so that adult home will be closing. We did a town fire and building inspection, and it failed miserably. We found that there were veterans living there. There were it's all older male adults living in basically a family in basement rooms without any fire egress in very unsafe conditions. So that is people are being moved out and are finding other housing. So that's a process, and we're happy that that's going on. The other thing is I've started the budget. We can notice the budget meetings at the next meeting, yes? But all the worksheets are back, and I'm starting to meet with department heads. If you guys have anything that you want me to consider, just email me and pop in. We have to have a 6-year commitment to our assessor. They're appointed for 6 years. So I've asked them for a proposal. We'll look at that. We've got some new full-time positions. We have our new zoning administrator. I want to look at funding a RFP for a master plan revitalization for our pool and our, changing rooms and bathrooms down there. And there's a list of other things that we want to look at. So if you guys have anything specific, let me know, or we'll deal with it after I present my preliminary budget. The tax cap is 2% this year, and we should be fine. We are looking to fund all of our additional part-time costs with the additional overtime, time for our clerks and our full-time person with the fees that we collect, and we'll be fine with that. So we will announce budget schedules, but I think I'm going to be presenting you with my budget on October 1st. And we can I'll send out an email and get feedback so that when we notice the meetings at the next town board meeting, we're all on the same page. So I'm looking forward to working with you on that. Anything else from anybody? Okay, hearing nothing, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Thank you, Chauncey. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, thanks. Good night, everybody. Thank you.
Right.